Hello everybody, welcome back to Waffles RC. Few updates. One, you'll see there's no RCs back there. The red Jeep and the Cadillac are missing. Are they being worked on? No. But I have something very cool to show you guys. Okay, hope you guys are ready for this. That's right. We have the wall of RCs. So we have the wall of RCs right there, and a very empty workbench, and a few tools hanging up there. That'll get filled up probably with more RCs eventually. But now I have nice, big, clean, empty workbench. Those aren't getting covered in sparks and all of the other things. We have everybody up here. Then the big boy and the trailers and everything else is down here. We got paint. I'm gonna paint this whole wall black, so that way kind of looks a little less industrial, but at the same time kind of liking the wood look. I don't know, you guys let me know what you think in the comments, but I'm super excited. Ignore that bit down there, haven't gotten to that, but this is all nice and organized. See, if you just cover that up, see, look at how perfect everything is. So I had this idea going for a couple months now actually, of how to clean everything up and to be able to get, you know, more shots where you can see me, because it's gonna be summertime and that's bright, lights me up, my beautiful face, you know. But just wanted to say a big thank you to my friend Tom, who is the person who built all this. I'm very excited just to be organized, to have the whole workbench to get everything done on. So let's get down to work. I'm going to be getting back on the Toyota, the 4Runner build with the IFS, as you can see by this being in your face. Did have a bit of a humbling moment for myself, at least, with this particular build. The views haven't been very good. My very regular viewers, you guys are all here, and I love seeing all your comments every time, and I know you guys are interested in this or just anything that I'm working on, which I really, really appreciate. But the humbling moment came when I realized I'm not doing this for a career. This is not a goal of mine to become a professional YouTuber. Would it be fun if this was my only job? Yeah, it would be. But the reality is as of right now, this is a hobby. This is me having fun and showing everybody else what can be done if you feel like making it yourself. I just have to keep that in mind as I'm building this, and when I see the views are down or not much engagement or anything like that, that's not the goal of this. My goal is to show you all, like I said, what can be done on your own instead of buying the same thing that everybody else has. You know, no sponsors, nobody's giving me parts for free, nothing like that. So it's, of course, he had to start his truck right now in the middle of this emotional moment. But anyhow, so the reality is I'm going to keep building what I want to build, which this particular time happens to be this. Haven't seen anybody else trying to do one like this. I've seen people that do 3D printing. Actually, on that note, if you're into more of the 24 scale stuff and 3D printing style stuff, there's a guy that you should really go and check out. He's commented, I've talked with him a couple of times through Instagram. He's got a small channel. Go give him some love, guys. He can also branch you out if you're not into the 10th scale or metal and you're more 3D printer. He's a good person to go and watch. So there's a channel on YouTube called Make Stuff Better. If you guys are more into 24 scale and 3D printing style stuff and body work, you should go and check him out. He's got a really good channel. I've watched pretty much all of his videos, and it's very interesting. So yeah, guys, go check him out. He's got some really good stuff on there, and he's different from me. I'm not going to be one of those channels that doesn't shout out other channels unless they give me something. That's just, it's not right. And he's into stuff that I'm like, I can't do 24 scale stuff. This is already too small for me to really grasp at sometimes, but he's doing 24 scale and I know that's super popular, so go check him out. He's got some cool stuff that he's doing, that he's working on right now. That being said, let's get back to this. Got some axle shafts, so I'm going to attempt to connect those, and then we're gonna build out the rest of the frame and mount the rear axle. Okay, after a little bit of trial and error, we have axle shafts. Engine spins, everybody is free. It still works even if it's dropped out, mostly. So this was a solid axle. Took the tubes off. All I did for inside to be able to connect the axle shafts to, so I took one of the axle shafts, not this one because obviously it's not in there, cut it, made it go all the way through to be able to connect that axle shaft and that axle shaft. And there's spacers in there to keep it from moving back and forth. There's a little bit of play, but it's to be expected. How long will this last? It's anybody's guess. But that is all complete. So let's finish the rest of the frame, get the rear axle on this too, make it actually start to look like an RC. Sorry about the wind. It is also the next day. As you can tell, I'm in different clothes. So this. Basically, long story short, I was working too much, too fast. Things weren't going that right, so I was just trying to power through and just trying to get it done, as opposed to stopping, having a rethink on this, trying to figure it out the best that I can. And so now I'm going to completely start over. I won't bore you through most of that, but the reason for wanting to start over is because there is nothing right on this thing. The rear shocks are too stiff. There's way too much weight up front. Biggest issue with this thing is obviously that's not going to look very good. Now granted, that's a lot of weight up there, so I understand that. There's nothing back here. So that can be figured out. I think I overcomplicated this or just tried to rush it, trying to make it as its own individual cage and then welding the frame onto it, adding more weight to it than is really necessary. I don't know how well this is going to come across. Oh yeah, pretty well. As you can see, that axle goes backwards, that axle goes forwards. I've tried aligning it as best as I can and the wheels just aren't in line with each other. So the body will be off. The frame, I welded a bar into here. As you can see, I cut it out. Trying to do all this, I was just struggling, to be honest. And I just kept working, trying to get it done, and it did not turn out the way that I want it to. It's not a factor of who else is going to see this and who else is going to, judge me on it. It was, this is not what I want. I need to simplify things a little bit more. So this is essentially a good practice, but now I'm going to build a new frame. I know that I can get the axle shafts to work. I'm gonna make new control arms for it, try to bring it in. That's the other thing, how wide this is. Now it doesn't matter about how wide it is to the rear axle. I can put spacers on it and that's fine. That's my biggest issue. Now I am going to run tires that are about the same size as this, and yes, I know the body's going to sit up higher and this part's all going to be gone. I know that there's ways of getting around this, but I didn't want the tires that far out. So I need to bring them in. That'll make the axle shafts a bit shorter. It's just not right, and I want it to be right for me. So this, I can't do this. This is not going to be good looking to me, but it's mainly the mechanicals. Nothing did exactly what I wanted to do, so yeah, we're gonna start over. Now starting over isn't really that bad of a thing. Yes, it sucks. I put a lot of work into this, but it's just not correct for me. So it does suck, but sometimes making a mistake and having to redo it, you're gonna find better ways of doing it, cleaner ways of doing it, because you've learned from your mistakes. And I have a prime example of that. So as you see, we have the mud truck. So I made the frame for this thing. You can see we got the transfer case right down here, all tube chassis. That is not the first frame for this truck. And longtime viewers of this channel will know that I've explained that that's not the first frame for this truck. That is the first frame for this truck. Excuse me, mistake. So with this frame, as compared to the mud truck, I didn't make this cage go low enough to be able to clear the gigantic tires that I ran. In here, you see the plate that I made for the transfer case. I thought, oh, there's going to be a lot of torque going through that, so I made it really big, overdid it, didn't really line up exactly how I wanted it, and made some mistakes, added plates that I didn't need to add. The transmission mount that I had here wasn't really strong enough, so I made a bunch of mistakes, and I spent probably a good 2 days, honestly, on just that frame alone to bolt everything up to it to find out that it was too short. With all of these mistakes and everything like that, I learned my lesson. I made a smaller plate for the transfer case, just enough. Now I can actually, get the drive shafts out. Simplified the whole drop carriage. Also made it taller. I don't know if it comes across, but it is significantly taller, which makes it so these big tires can clear everything. So, as much as it is upsetting that I have to do a new frame, done it before. So my lesson from all this is basically take your time. Yes, don't let it get you down. Don't get mad at it for it not doing what you want. But most importantly, if you know you're not happy with it and you're just doing stuff to get it working because you want to get it working, you need to stop, take a breather, have a rethink. It sucks having to redo stuff, but sometimes it's the name of the game when you're customizing or when you're building custom RC stuff. Nothing's going to go right the first time, especially with something very complicated like an independent front suspension that I'm making out of links and random metal. I will let you guys know how it goes. I'm going to redesign the frame. I'm going to not have the IFS in its own little cage and then weld the frame to it. I'm going to make the frame first, then modify it to have the center diff for the front in there, and then make better mounts for the shocks, better mounts for the links, for all the control arms. I've already just been looking at it and I know way better ways of doing it. So over the next couple of days and the next weekend, that's what I'm going to be doing, just a new frame. Probably won't film it just because you already watched me do the IFS, so I'll probably do time-lapse stuff of the frame, something like that. But learn from me, just take your time. If you're getting mad, you just need to stop. I did not listen to myself. I just wanted to keep going and keep going just to get it done, and I made too many mistakes. So learn from my mistakes. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll let you know. But from Waffles RC, just want to say thank you for watching. No, it's been kind of a weird video and not your normal, oh, look at this new thing. But this happens. Thank you again, and we will see you on the next episode where we do something with RCs. Don't know what, but we'll figure it out.